we are going to basically connect N8N to HighLevel MCP, and the team over at HighLevel made the MCP accessible for N8N users, which is going to open up a lot of us to do. All right, and welcome everybody today to another Vibe Friday. I've sent messages to Mario, but I think Mario might be stuck in flights and going kind of everywhere else. Now, before we begin, you're definitely going to have N8N in order for this to work. I'm going to walk you through like a step-by-step on how to connect it. And then we're still at a little bit of a limitation because you got to remember the MCP is still kind of new. And the way these MCPs work is you have to basically connect a lot of the endpoints in order to get different functionality of like HighLevel to work with these like automated MCP servers. And again, for anybody that's watching that has no idea what an MCP is, I want to make sure that you guys get a little bit of that understanding. So think of it like this. Make believe today you wake up and you're like, I want to create an app, and I want to create an app that anytime somebody fills out, let's say, a big elaborate questionnaire with like graphs and all this kind of crazy crap, I want that to automatically create a contact inside a HighLevel, and then even possibly add notes and do some other crazy things, move them in pipelines and all of that. Normally, you would have to basically create a connection between whatever the software is that you built and like HighLevel through what's called an API in order for it to work. Now, normally that takes a little bit of coding knowledge. You sometimes have to go in and you have to figure it out. And each action you want to take, you would have to connect or create like little connectors in order to do it. The reason why that's sometimes really difficult is that you'll have to basically understand that every tool that you have available in HighLevel needs to connect using coding in order to have that feature work. So you now bring in these MCPs and you put an AI in the middle, and guess what? The AI figures it out and you're kind of hands off. And today's kind of what I want to show you guys, right? So HighLevel did a great job. They created some change logs. So I'm going to go over how you can get more information on it yourself, go directly where the notes are, how to find it inside your system. Now, again, finding the change notes and everything else, I'll post a link inside the chats that we're having in the live videos right now. And again, we're doing this from scratch. So mind you, we're probably going to have some errors and everything else when we first start out. But I'm going to walk you literally step by step, and we'll go over some more advanced things that are coming out later on. Now, also know that the first version of this MCP only has about 21 tools that you're allowed to use. So we're going to obviously be limited in what we can do with this MCP. But again, I just want to make sure you guys are aware that this is the beginning. They've already made us aware that they're going to add all 250 tools to this MCP, which is going to make us be able to do a lot more. So this is like the beginning of like an incredible thing that we're all going to be able to do, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up a couple windows. I'm going to go to my N8N version. I have a self-hosted. If you guys want to know how to self-host it, both Mario and I, did a video on it. And also Mario has a service where you can get him to basically build a self-hosted version for you. All right. So I have N8N up on one window. I'm going to go to my HighLevel white label instance, my CRM. And I'm also going to show you guys the changelog where you want to go to get all this information, right? So if you go into your agency account, if not, I'm going to post it on the chat so you guys can have it. You can come over here, and if you go to ideas, which is right here, there's always going to be a changelog. And by the way, I view this changelog probably once a week. This is what helps me keep like in touch with like everything that's going on. And if I come in here, I believe it's under MCP, and I'm going to hit enter. Great. And it's this changelog right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just put this in the chat for everybody. So click that in the live chat, wherever channel you guys are watching from, and this will be able to kind of like just get you up and going, right? So the MCP is up. The reason why I want to have this in particular is one, it lists all the different actions that are available, how to connect and all that. But one thing I want to make sure you do is click on full support articles. And by the way, whenever you guys are going to get a little bit more advanced and you're starting to work with like APIs and MCPs, you need to look at the docs, because the docs are basically going to have everything you need to basically complete this. So know that this is going to be part of like a normal thing for you going forward. Is you got to learn how to like navigate through some of these documents in order to work. So we're going to kind of like just skim this just a little bit. It does go over the MCP, kind of what it works. But then on this right here, which is the most important part, is the tools. If you guys look from 1 to all the way to 21, these are the different actions that these MCPs can do. Now, mind you, this is only 21 out of 250 tools that are available right now through the regular API. And eventually, according to the developers, as I've talked to them, we're going to have the ability of connecting to all 250, which is going to be a massive game changer for anybody that just wants to automate a bunch of stuff, makes it super easy. And again, it's just going to open up the world for a lot of things for us to do. But what's important here too is the devs did such a great job. They added a configure MCP client on the right-hand side right here for us. So in your notes that I just Again, I'll post this over here for you guys. That is the actual marketplace where you can go. And again, you can get the MCP document itself. So again, I posted it there just in case you guys are having trouble getting to it. And right in here, we're going to go to this configure MCP N8N client, and we're going to leave it right up here because this information is super important. Also note that any tokens I use today, I'm going to erase. So for anybody going out there, this is only going to be for an example, and it's in a test account. And then immediately I'm going to delete it. So there's going to be no harm that can be done to me, just in case you guys get that token. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is, now that we have this information, we're now going to go back to N8N, and I'm going to go into my test account so I can be ready for the part where I have to do things inside of HighLevel itself, right? So we're going to go to N8N. We're going to create a new workflow, right? And we're going to call this the MCP HighLevel test. And again, if you guys are following along, I'm going to try to go super slow. Do this yourself. It's not that hard to do. All right. So we're going to come over here, and I'm just going to put HighLevel MCP test. All right. And I have that right up here. The first step that we're going to do is we are going to create a chat window so we can interact with the bot and then go from there. Right. So we're going to come in here, and we're going to hit the little plus sign. And on this plus sign, we're just going to type in chat. And you see the chat trigger. The trigger is the first action that I want so I can start engaging in the bot. So I'm going to create the chat widget. And again, the chat is the easiest one. We can do Telegram. You can do WhatsApp. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can do a webhook. But in order for this example to make it simple for everybody out there that's watching for the first time, there's like, this stuff is kind of crazy. You can go from there and make it a little crazy, right? So we're going to go from here. We got the chat. We're going to leave that open. The next thing we want to do is, in order for the MCP to work really well, we want the AI in the middle controlling what gets done in the MCP. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this AI agent. And I'm going to leave the AI agent right here, because what I'm going to do is also, I have a Google Doc that I created yesterday that basically has like a little kind of prompt that you guys leverage and use to kind of go through it. And I'm going to actually share this with you guys. How about that? How about that gift? So anybody that's live, you guys get a bonus. All right. You're going to be able to get this prompt that we have right here. Now, again, it's limited based on the things that we're going to do, but at least you'll have this available. All right. And wherever it has brackets, and I'm going to highlight these brackets, that's for you to change. And again, you can modify this thing as much as you want. But what I'm doing right now is giving very explicit instructions to the AI that's going to be receiving the request that I have for my chat of all the different tools it has available inside of HighLevel. So I'm going to take this prompt. I'm going to make it a shareable document. All right. How about this? Everybody watching live, congratulations. You guys get this prompt. All right. So click on that, and this will give you the prompt that we're going to leverage in there. Now, again, you can modify this. I didn't spend a lot of time making the prompt because we just been testing, because we wanted to make sure that the prompt works and all this works. Because like, again, this can get very complex very quickly, right? So now that we have this, what we're going to do is we are going to go back to our N8N instance, and we have to do one thing. So we have the AI agent that we put in. I'm going to add an option for a system message. And here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically copy and paste that same prompt I just gave you guys. So I'm going to come over here, Control A, Control C, and I'm going to drop it in here. Now, notice that there's one thing that we're going to have to give this bot, which is the location ID. Now, if you go back to the instructions that HighLevel provides, it literally says right here that in order for you to get this to be one location, you have to put the location ID in the prompt itself. And that's what we're leveraging and doing, right? And there's also a nice little demo video that they kind of show you how to do this. I'm just breaking it apart, make it a little bit easier. And I give you a more elaborate prompt. Now, what I'm going to do is, again, AI agent, I went to options and I turned on system message. And now I need to get my location ID, because if you look at this prompt, it says that I need to put my location ID right where it says location ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my test account. I'm going to go to settings, the location ID right here. I'm going to copy that. Again, you can't really do much with my location ID. And again, I'll delete this account as soon as this is over. And I'm going to paste it right in there. That is now my location ID that I'm going to leverage in order for this thing to work. Now that the prompt is good and we have our message coming in, inside the actual bot, I'm going to need to actually give it a brain, right? So inside the chat model, what we want to do is we want to come over here and we want to select one of the very many AI abilities that, again, N8N has. You can select whichever one is your favorite. Again, for the purposes of making this super simple, I have OpenAI, which is ChatGPT already connected. I'm going to connect it. I'm going to use 4.1 mini, and I'm going to back out and go from there. And the next thing I want to do is select the memory. The memory is basically, we're going to use simple memory. For the people that are more advanced than N8N, you can use whatever memory you want. But here it's the context window. How much do I want the bot to remember, or how many conversations do I want the bot to remember it's going back and forth, right? So what I want to do is I want to create a context window that makes enough sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 20, but I can do 50, I can do 100. I really don't know what the limit is. Mario will probably have a much better idea than I would on that. But again, he's probably traveling today. He's all over the world right now. But we're going to leave it at 20 because I think that's going to be pretty good for conversation. But you can increase that context window to see whatever the past interactions are. And again, it doesn't mean that it stops the interactions between you and the chat. It just means that there's a limit of how many chats it's going to remember before it like resets its brain. So I think 20 is a really good kind of way to go back and forth. So we're going to leave it at 20. And I added a memory. So all I did so far is we added a chat to communicate with the bot. I added the AI agent. I added a model, which is going to be the AI brain that's going to go ahead and like communicate and understand this. And they added a simple memory to remember the previous conversations, and I limited at 20. Now, again, you can change that limit. That's completely up to you, but this is a win regardless how you do it, right? Now, here comes a vital part, and this is where things are going to get a little harder and a little bit more confusing, right? So next thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to select the tool. So if you guys are multitasking, you're doing anything else at this point, this is where you got to really pay attention because this was a lot of trial and error on my part. I made a lot of mistakes on this connection point, and I don't want you guys experiencing the same mistakes. Hey, we want to interrupt this video for a quick little minute to just let you know that I hope you're enjoying this video. We want to thank you for being here, but more importantly, we are hoping that this content helps you do whatever you're trying to do inside of HighLevel. We also want to let you know that you have options to get additional help. We offer a $197 a month VIP coaching program that includes 4 days of office hours, first come, first serve with Andy or myself, where we go in and we answer any of your questions that you might have live with a group setting for other people that are also working in HighLevel. We also have a VIP group where we answer questions directly one-on-one with anybody posting in that group to give you the absolute best support. It also comes with a bunch of other features, including our funnel brick system, our little mini course, and more importantly, a couple guides that'll help you through this, and also including our SOP library that we use for pretty much everything inside of our agency. So thank you for this quick little minute, but more importantly, go back to the video, get whatever you need, and if you have any questions that we can answer inside the video, just drop a comment on the video and we'll make sure to answer whenever we get a chance. And now back to the show. All right, so in this part, when we select the tool in the AI agent, I want to grab the MCP client tool. When I come to the MCP client tool, you're going to notice that there's these things right here that are very important. There are two major things that you need to understand. If you do not see the ability of a dropdown to go to HTTP streamable, it does not mean you have the most up-to-date N8N version. If you don't have the most up-to-date N8N version, you have to stop. You have to go and update because this will not work with the other version that we have available. This took me a day to figure out that I was working in an undated server because I could not get this thing to work no matter what I did. You have to make sure you update to the latest N8N version in order for this to work. Now that I have this right here and I selected the server transport to be HTTP streamable, the next thing I want to do is get my endpoint. Now, this is where you're going to need the documentation again. In here, here's your MCP endpoint that you have to copy. Again, I'm going to put it in the chat for everybody to grab it just in case you don't have the docs up. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that point right in here. And now I have the endpoint, right? The next thing I want to do is select my authentication. Now, authentication is really important when you're working with MCPs and also when you're working with different tools. So if I go to authentication and I go to header auth, I now have to come in here and create a header auth. Now, we're going to create a brand new credential because again, like I said, this is only going to be for the test and then I'm going to rotate all my keys so you guys can't get access. But pretty much important, this is a very important key. This is a key you want to secure because if somebody gets access to this key, they can get access to your account. So make sure that you're not sharing this key and you're securing it. Super important for you all to do that. When you get to credential for authentication header or the header auth, click on the down arrow, go all the way down to create a new credential. Inside of here, you're going to come over here and you're going to type in HighLevel MCP N8N test 4. And on the name, it's really important. This is, again, one of those things that if you mess this up, it won't connect properly. You're going to click on name. You're going to go over here to the setup authentication, and you're going to grab this authorization word, okay? And again, I'm going to paste this over here so you guys have it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the name area right in my authentication that I'm doing right now, and I'm going to put authorization. Now the value is going to be the next important part. So we're going to leave this screen up, and the next part we're going to do inside of our HighLevel account. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the left-hand side, and if you're in the main menu area, what you're going to want to do is you want to go to settings. In settings, you want to go to private integration, and in private integrations, we are going to create a new integration hitting the blue button on the right-hand side. When I click on the blue button on the right-hand side, we are going to name this N8N MCP connection, or whatever you want to name it. Or honestly, it doesn't matter, right? The name is not important. What's important is the next part. And again, you're not going to hate Nuno the messenger on the next part because this is not my fault. When it comes to scopes, unfortunately, as of now, you have to select the scopes individually. There's over 250 scopes. So what that means for us is we only have access to 21. So we got to load all 21. In the essence of time and space that we have, and we're doing this live and I only have an hour, I'm not going to sit here and do all 21. I'm going to do the ones that we're going to need for our example so you guys can see how it says. But if you want to connect all 21, you can do it. It does not hurt you. It helps you. So just do whatever you want to do. But I want to make sure you understand. When you get to the scope area, the way I would recommend doing it to make it super easy for yourself is go to the document again, right? Your MCP documentation here. And if you go back up to this authentication, it's right here, authentication required scopes. These are the scopes that you can add. It's all of these. So the way I do it is I come in here, I copy, and again, don't hate Nuno, enter, go to the next one, edit contacts, enter, come in here, edit conversations, enter. All right. So we're going to add a couple of these just to see. And you always got to make sure you hit enter, because if you don't hit enter, you don't see the circle around it. You know, again, this is going to be a little bit challenging. And again, I think Dave just mentioned that Sean says that he's going to be making their own N8N, which is going to make it a lot easier. I have no doubt that HighLevel's all over this, and they're going to, give us some great examples on this. But this is just so then you guys can get started so you can play around with this stuff. And if you build your bot now in N8N, when this thing enhances, all you got to do is add additional scope and directions, and you're off to the freaking races. I mean, so you're going to be way ahead of the pack no matter what you do here, right? So I'm going to hit view opportunities. All right, hit enter, edit opportunities. And the reason this is so great, man, and look, I'm not a coder. I've stated this a gazillion times. I am a no coder. I know how to do a lot of integrations and a lot of stuff like this. So this is great for somebody that is not that technically inclined. A lot of the setup, as you see, it's not that hard. It's a lot of copy and pasting and just modifying the prompt going forward. So it gives us the ability to do that. Now, on the sense of what I'm doing right now, I added the scopes. I'm going to hit create. When I hit create, it's going to give me this key. I'm going to copy this key and immediately delete this. All right. Well, not delete it, but at least have it available for me. Now, the next part is also important. This is the way that I do it. I'm going to come over here, go to the screen here, and I'm going to create a new little text document. All right. Inside this text document, this is very important that you guys understand the formatting. When you're going to write the next part is you got to type in the word bearer. So it's going to be B-E-A-R-E-R. And then you're going to drop in the code you just grabbed. That's my code. All right. You want to make sure you do that. Again, most important thing is you're going to put bearer on the front of it. Then you're going to add the code that was given to you. You're going to copy it. Come back over here. And what I'm going to do is now that I have that bearer and everything else in the value inside of the N8N, I'm going to put that code with the bearer in front of it. So bearer and code, bearer and code. So please make sure you guys understand that, right? And then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hit save. And now my credentials are saved. And then the tools to include at this point in time, I'm just going to put all instead of me having going individually and selecting all the ones that are available. I'm just going to select the all to make it where the bot is just going to figure it out and I'm not really going to do anything with it. All right. And now I'm going to hit back to Canvas. And ladies and gentlemen, our MCP is connected. How cool is that, right? Now, for the sake of testing, I am going to make this live. And I click on my chat window and I'm going to go, please give me a list of all my contacts. Okay. And see the little things that are all firing at once and everything else. It is now communicating it. And if I did this right, look, it pulled all my contacts from N8N. All right. How cool is that? The bot figured it out. I gave it a request and the bot figured it out. The AI in the center now has a brain, and that brain, which is the ChatGPT brain, and that prompt I gave it now the ability of going to the MCP and doing all of this. Now, remember, the scopes I added was conversations, and I added opportunities, right? I'm going to say is, and I'm going to copy this right here, Nuno Tavares, is Nuno Tavares this contact in any opportunities, all right? How big is think about the programming that would be required for you guys to do this. And we're doing it just like this. I'm going to hit enter. And I even spelled opportunities wrong. Let's see if the AI bot can bring it down. Now, remember, I didn't connect all the endpoints. And for some odd reason, my brain is not firing right now. I think I created the opportunities. Yes, currently has no opportunities. Okay. And then I'm going to say, what are my current pipelines? Let's see if we can see pipelines. And it's true because that particular person does not have any opportunities. But I think Test does. I'm going to see there's Nuno Test have one. For Arthur, who's watching, It's bearer and then a space and then the code. Bearer, a space, and a code. So great question. And look, you have several pipelines in your CRM. Here are some of the main pipelines. Look, and it gave me a list of all the pipelines I have in the account. How cool is that? Remember, you're going to be able to create a contact. Let's see if we can create a contact, because I think I can edit contacts, but I don't know if I can create one. Let's see if we can. Create a contact called Mary Tavares, phone number 1-888-555-2424. Don't know if that's a real number. Don't call it. I don't know who lives there. Let's see if we can create a contact. Now, it might not have the ability yet, because remember, we're limited. Oh, it is. So Mary Tavares phone number. Okay, let's see. If I come over here, how cool would this be? I go to contacts. We should hopefully see Mary Tavares. If not, it lied. There it is, Mary Tavares right there. What? Guys, this is like next level kind of craziness that we can do. And remember, I only connected the conversations, the opportunities, and the contacts. And now we're going to be able to do all of that as we see fit. And again, I went down only this part. These are some of the other things. A lot of viewing, as you could see. So you can do a lot of viewing and checking, and then you can actually make some of this work. But it's really important that you guys kind of like start playing around with this, because if you can get ahead of MCP servers, your world will open up quite significantly. Because remember, I didn't really do anything other than letting the bot know what I wanted. And then the bot figured out which endpoint it needed to use. It went in and like got the information I needed. It created the contact, and it did everything that it needed to do with very minimal, kind of commands. Now, here's the crazy thing that you guys really need to understand. I created a Telegram bot. The Telegram bot does this for me. Meaning I will I will message a Telegram bot in voice or in text, and I will give it all this information, and it does whatever the 21 endpoints allows me to do inside this thing in here. This is how crazy this thing is, because now you can create all these random bots that can do additional things in there. For all the people that are watching and you guys are playing around with software development with like Bolt and Lovable, you can create a connection to the MCP server that does the same exact things directly inside of your tools as you created. So now you can go back and forth with all of this and not even sweat it. So that's why it's important for you guys to like start messing around with this particular skill set, because if you figure this out, it's going to open up a lot for you. Now, again, you have 21 endpoints only now. Imagine when we're going to get like create an invoice, create a blog post, update a blog post, update an email, create an email. You can be on the fly literally from one message to the other, and then just keep, pounding things out. Now, here's the crazy part for anybody that's like really following N8N and what we're trying to develop. I think I shared it with a lot of different teams and people I coach. Is I have like a major assistant, and again, true to my word, I'm going to rotate my tokens. So for all you hackers out there, you're not going to get me just yet. Please don't get me. So I'm going to come over here and I can just delete all of these, and then nobody has access. That's how cool it is. So if you ever get nervous, oh, I think my key's been compromised, just go and delete the key. And so great question, Arthur. I personally love Telegram for a lot of these bots. I'll show you guys. Donna, this is like the bot. And again, there's Nate Hurt. I don't want to take any credit. Nate Hurt is actually the one that taught me how to do this. Nate Hurt is a great guy in N8N. Mario has a version of this too. His is like super massively huge. But every time I'm able to create a connection inside of like, let's say like calendars or emails or Slack or images or whatever it is, I automatically add this to my bot, and I make this like my super bot. And guess what I'm going to be adding? I've created an MCP server, and based on this chat, I'm now going to have Donna also now connect to HighLevel and do the 21 endpoint things that I wanted to do, but it'll be off of a mega agent that can do all these things. So that's why it's really good. And somebody asked, is Telegram the best? I personally like it. One, it's free. It's absolutely free. You can create bots. You can create as many bots as you want inside of there, because you do need a bot in order to connect to N8N to Telegram. And it does make it way easier for an interface to do it. And honestly, I'm never on Telegram other than using the bots. So it's something pretty cool that you guys can leverage. And that's it, guys. But I hope you guys at least were able to connect it to your own personal HighLevel, because honestly, I think anybody can. If not, the video's live, they'll post, and then we'll clean it up and we'll make it a little bit cleaner, and we'll put it as a regular YouTube video. And then I'll put a little SOP in the bottom to make it really easy with all the links and everything else, so you guys could get a chance to do all this. And for anybody in the Udemy course and inside of my VIP, you guys will get first dibs. So just know that it's there. But hope this brought some value, guys. But honestly, jump on this, man. Get ahead of everybody else. And that's going to give you the 1% edge that you're going to need, because a lot of people are doing this and they're not taking advantage of it. And I want to make sure all of the people that are watching are taking advantage of it, so you guys can go out there and make some money or make your life easier, wherever it is. I'll close out the call. We'll try to get the SOP ready for you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.